Nobody wants to hear this, especially not in America, where tall is powerful, tall is successful, and tall is everything the culture tells you to be. But the data is in, and it does not care about your feelings. A University of Hawaii study tracked 8,003 men for decades and found that men who were 5'2" or shorter lived the longest. A Swedish study of 5.5 million adults found cancer risk rose consistently with height. Finnish athletes who were 6 inches shorter than basketball players lived nearly 7 years longer. A 2026 analysis published in Spanner confirmed that shorter individuals tend to live longer across multiple populations and study designs. Today I am going to show you exactly why shorter bodies live longer, the specific biological mechanisms behind the longevity advantage, and what this means for every American regardless of their height. Because the real takeaway is not about height. It is about the biological systems that height reveals, systems every single one of us can influence directly. In this video you will learn 5 things. First, the specific gene that shorter people carry at higher rates that directly extends lifespan. Second, why taller bodies accumulate cellular damage faster, and what that means for aging. Third, the IGF-1 and growth hormone pathway that connects height to cancer risk, insulin resistance, and accelerated aging. Fourth, why the world's longest-lived populations are among the shortest on Earth. And fifth, the 4 habits that activate the same longevity biological pathways in people of any height, starting today. Let's start with the gene that changes everything. The FOXO3 gene is one of the most studied longevity genes in human biology. It is consistently linked to longer lifespan in both human and animal studies across multiple continents and populations. The University of Hawaii study found that shorter men, those 5'2" and under, were significantly more likely to carry a protective form of the FOXO3 gene. This gene is a key regulator within the insulin and IGF-1 signaling pathway, the same pathway that controls how fast your cells grow, how quickly they divide, and how rapidly they accumulate damage over a lifetime. The critical insight is this: FOXO3 favors efficiency and repair over growth and expansion. When FOXO3 is active, cells prioritize maintenance, DNA repair, and stress resistance over rapid growth. When it is suppressed, as it tends to be in taller bodies with higher IGF-1 levels, cells prioritize growth and division, and rapid cell division over decades is the biological foundation of cancer, accelerated aging, and shortened lifespan. Shorter men in the University of Hawaii study also showed lower fasting insulin levels and less incidence of cancer. These are not coincidences, they are connected expressions of the same biological pathway. Now here is the cellular mathematics that most people never hear. Taller people have more cells, significantly more, trillions more cells than shorter individuals. Every one of those additional cells is exposed to free radicals, carcinogens, and replication errors over a lifetime. Each time a cell divides, it has a small probability of making a copying error. The more cells you have, and the more times they divide across a lifetime, the greater the cumulative probability of a mutation escaping the immune system's repair mechanisms. This is why the very large Swedish study of 5.5 million adults found that cancer risk rose consistently and measurably with height. It is not that tall people are doing something wrong. It is that more cells means more biological lottery tickets, and some of those tickets are losing ones. Shorter bodies also require fewer calories to maintain. Taller people have larger bones, larger organs, larger muscle mass, all of which demand more energy to sustain. Higher caloric intake over decades means more insulin secretion, more metabolic stress, and more oxidative damage to cells. Research consistently shows that smaller, shorter bodies have lower death rates and fewer diet-related chronic diseases, especially past middle age. The Okinawans have the world's highest percentage of centenarians. Centenarian men in Okinawa average 4'10", centenarian women average 4'7". 6 of the top populations for life expectancy globally, Andorra, Macau, Japan, San Marino, Singapore, and Hong Kong, are among the shortest average height populations on Earth. This is not a coincidence of culture or diet alone. The biological mechanisms are measurable and consistent. Now here is the IGF-1 connection that ties everything together. IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, is the primary hormone that drives height during development. Taller people generally have higher IGF-1 activity during their growth years and maintain higher IGF-1 sensitivity into adulthood. IGF-1 is a powerful growth signal. It tells cells to grow, divide, and multiply. In childhood, this is what you want. In adulthood and middle age, sustained high IGF-1 activity accelerates cellular aging, suppresses autophagy, the cellular self-cleaning process we covered in our fasting video, and increases the likelihood of abnormal cell proliferation. David Sinclair, co-director of the Paul F. Glenn Center for Biology of Aging Research at Harvard Medical School, has identified reduced growth signaling as one of the key biological pathways associated with extended lifespan across multiple species. From yeast to worms to mice to humans, Organisms with lower IGF-1 and growth hormone signaling consistently live longer. Height is essentially a visible marker of how actively these growth pathways ran during development. And the same pathways that built a tall body continue operating at a higher baseline in adulthood, accelerating the biological clock. A study of retired professional NBA basketball players found that the tallest players, the top 5% for height, died younger than the shortest players in the bottom 5%. Same sport, same era, same level of physical activity. Different biological cost of existing in that body over decades. Here is what this means for you, regardless of your height. The longevity mechanisms that shorter bodies benefit from are not locked inside their genetics. They are biological pathways that every person can activate through specific daily habits. Habit 1. Practice intermittent fasting daily. As we showed in our fasting video, 16-hour fasting directly activates FOXO3, the same longevity gene that shorter people carry at higher rates. Fasting drops IGF-1 and insulin to their lowest levels of the day. It triggers autophagy, cellular self-cleaning. It activates the same biological repair over growth mode that shorter bodies operate in more naturally. Fasting is the most direct way to activate longevity biology regardless of your height. Habit 2. Eat less total food with higher nutritional density. Shorter bodies naturally consume fewer calories and experience less cumulative metabolic stress. Caloric restriction without malnutrition is one of the most consistently proven longevity interventions across every species ever studied. You do not have to eat dramatically less, you have to eat more precisely. Protein first, plants second, processed food eliminated. Habit 3. Walk 30 minutes every morning in a fasted state. As we showed in our walking series, fasted morning walking drops insulin, activates fat oxidation, and reduces the chronic low-grade inflammation that drives accelerated aging. Moderate, consistent exercise, not extreme training, is what the research shows extends lifespan. Extreme exercise in large bodies causes more joint damage and cardiovascular stress. Daily walking is the exercise equivalent of the biological efficiency that shorter bodies demonstrate metabolically. Habit 4. Protect your sleep as a medical protocol. During deep sleep, your body activates the same cellular repair pathways that FOXO3 regulates. Growth hormone peaks. Autophagy runs. DNA repair occurs. Shorter people who carry protective FOXO3 variants may be more efficient at these nighttime repair processes. Every person can maximize this window by sleeping 7 to 9 hours at a consistent time in a dark, cool room. Here is the reframe that changes everything. Height is not the variable. The biological systems that height reflects are the variable. And those systems, IGF-1 signaling, insulin sensitivity, FOXO3 activity, cellular repair efficiency, caloric efficiency, are all modifiable through the habits we cover on this channel every week. You cannot change how tall you are, but you can activate the same longevity biology that gives shorter people their statistical advantage. Fasting, walking, precise nutrition, deep sleep. These are not separate habits. They are 4 inputs into the same biological system, the system that determines whether your cells prioritize growth and division, or repair and maintenance. The Okinawan centenarians did not choose to be short, but they also eat in small portions, move constantly, fast naturally between meals, and sleep in alignment with light. Their lifestyle mimics the biological efficiency their genetics partially confer. You have the same toolkit. The biology of longevity does not discriminate by height. It responds to how you live. If this video changed how you think about aging and biology, hit like. It tells YouTube to show this to people who need it. Comment below your height and whether this surprised you. I read every single one. And next week I am covering the one mineral that 45% of Americans are deficient in, that directly controls the cellular repair pathways we just discussed. Sleep quality, stress response, and DNA maintenance simultaneously. Subscribe so you do not miss it.